Hey, everybody. Today on the program, the polls. The polls are reflecting the fake enthusiasm that you've seen from the radical left. Yes, Kamala Harris got a bump. No doubt about it. But look, when you've got the Crypt Keeper, a zombie from Walking Dead as your candidate, anybody looks better and feels better, sounds better. And so, yes, there's been a bump. It is a sugar high that has no substantive backing in data or reality behind it. And yeah, the avalanche of fake enthusiasm continues on social media. I've spoken about that all week long. Fake demanded enthusiasm from the liberal hierarchy. Today, I'm going to take a look at the real numbers with you. And you're going to see the truth. Multiple dozens upon dozens of millions of people. And the numbers don't lie. And I'm going to show you. Ladies and gentlemen, the right side with Doug Billings is now upon you. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey everybody, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to do a big shout out for my great friend and one of the best in the business, Mr. Doug Billings. Right side with Doug Billings, right side with Doug Billings. Doug is the future of the airwaves when it comes to independent broadcasters and podcasters. He is the new Rush Limbaugh. He's exactly what America needs right now, looking for honesty, looking for wisdom, looking for truth, looking for patriotism. Listen to Doug Billings at Right Side with Doug Billings. God bless you and God bless America, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. We're winning, winning, winning. Welcome to the Right Side with Doug Billings. Are you ready?
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God, and His divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
Hi, everybody. Today on the Right Side, thanks for being with us. We're going to look into some numbers and tell you the truth. Look, we try real hard over here to make sure that we always have access to the truth. We give you the data. We give you the numbers. We've got to cut through all of the sugar high nonsense that we're seeing on the social media platforms over there. First of all, let me thank you for being here and standing with me shoulder to shoulder. I appreciate you very much. We need your help over at dougbillings.us. If you would go over there and please prayerfully consider setting up a recurring monthly donation to the program. It's how I get this show out to you. I never charge you for the show. The show's always free. So just prayerfully consider what the truth is worth to you, and we appreciate it over there. That's item number one. Item number two, we have a conference coming up in September 27th and 28th. DeterminedPatriotismConference.com is the website for that. DeterminedPatriotismConference.com. Head over there, get tickets, get information. 2 days in Branson, Missouri. Some of the nation's top tier podcasters, influencers, and public figures will be speaking. We add to this list of speakers weekly, so keep informed, keep up to date, but get your tickets while you can. We're only making 500 available. We keep these things small and intimate on purpose. We want you to meet all of the speakers. If you want pictures and so forth, shake their hand, tell them thank you. But what it is 2 days of motivation and education to get us motivated to get involved in our local levels of government. And coming up in September, just 2 months before the general election, it's a rallying cry for all of the conservatives that we can muster. And we're going to meet in the middle of the country, Branson, Missouri, September 27th and 28th. You can see the website there on the screen, DeterminedPatriotismConference.com. Please head over there and get information. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something that you already know right off the bat. Liberals lie, and they create false data. Imagine that. They create false data and they put data out there. The election season heightens all of this probability for us to see the lies and so forth, especially with regards to polls. I know that many of you, like I do, you look at polling and you roll your eyes and you think, oh, yeah, sure, the polls. I don't put a lot of stock in polls. And I agree with you when you say things like that. There are reputable statisticians out there, people who produce sound and intellectually mature data with regards to the methodology that they use. So regardless of how you may feel, I'm here to tell you there are some good ones out there. Are they always accurate? No, but there are some that are more than others. And there are some that have a historical perspective to them where we can look back over the course of time and we can see that, interactive polls, for example, always fairly reputable and has a good track record in history. So at least we have that going for us and we can glean from them the truth. And there are polls that take the aggregate of all of the other polls and tally those numbers together. So they get rid of the highs and lows and the nonsense on either side. And we look at averages. Those are good polls. And there's, again, Interactive Polls is a company based out of Iowa that does a great job with all of this. But the radical liberal left, I want to comment on this with you today because I see on social media and in the legacy news media outlets so much fake polling, outright disingenuous, not honest, and it is, I think it's something we have to talk about because I want you to be armed with the truth. So in the wake of Administrator Biden stepping down, Vice Pretender Kamala Harris steps in. She was given the opportunity. No one voted for her. Another story for another day. No one votes for her. The liberal, radical, woke hierarchy hands her the keys, if you will, to the nomination, which is not a foregone conclusion. We'll get to that in a minute. But the insertion of the nominee by the liberal hierarchy has caused this sugar high. We've seen members of the radical left putting forth all sorts of fake enthusiasm, demanded loyalty, and polls that are just not true. It's beyond just being inaccurate and being, and not using proper methodology. They are purposefully putting forth polls that are wrong. And they, again, circle around those polls and put forth more and more enthusiasm. Look at this. Kamala Harris up by 11 points in Michigan. We're going to get to that specific example, but I'm telling you right now, no way on God's green earth is that true. I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove it to you. We don't go from, nobody goes from being 10 points up to 11 points down in the span of a week. No, it never happens that way. Polls, I'm going to show you with numbers that when we look at them, when we examine them, there's no way that they can be true. And in fact, they aren't. They are nothing more than fantasy. They want these numbers to be true, and they put it out there. It's the classic liberal playbook. Put false information out there often enough so that people begin to think, well, maybe this is true. And the narrative changes and we become discouraged. That's their whole goal, to cause us to lose hope, to think, wow, this is really closer than we thought. Folks, it's not as close as they say it is. Now, again, my disclaimer, we don't become lackadaisical. We have a lot of work to do. We have an election coming up. We have a primary coming up in a week in many parts of the country. Primary season is upon us. So let me start with the nonsense and these polls that use just terrible methodology. There's a company out there called Morning Consult, and they put out data like this. Image number 1, Reagan. I'm going to just ask you to put that up on the screen. This is Newswire Post. It was on X. You've got Michigan. Take a look at this. Harris, 53%. Trump, 42%. Folks, trust me when I tell you this. It's fraudulent. This is not anywhere close to the truth. Harris leading in all of the key battleground states when she was down 7 to 12 points just a few days to a week ago. And now she's up by 11 points, according to this bogus poll in Michigan. Now, keep in mind that this organization, Morning Consult, their own national poll has Harris up by 1 point nationally. All right. Thank you, Reagan. Yeah, it's impossible for a national poll to indicate just a 1 point lead when a state is showing an 11 point lead. That's you don't have to be a great mathematician, but I'm telling you that's statistically and mathematically impossible. It doesn't make any sense. And to back me up on this, there's a guy out there by the name of Rich Barris. Now, Rich has a reputation of being one of the best pollsters, one of the best scientific methodology guys out there that puts forth data. And he's got a historical proven record of being accurate. So he comes out. He's one of the guys, again, He's on X, and his handle is the People's Pundit, People's_Pundit on X, if you want to follow him. In his words, and he says, basically, Morning Consult, this company that I just showed you, should be absolutely embarrassed about this. This is his post on X. Absolutely embarrassed. And he points out perfectly so that when you have a poll that has a candidate up by 11 points, as I mentioned, and a national poll that shows a candidate up by only 1 point, what you have in that case is an impossibility. So, again, I guess my point with you is that once you take a good, solid look, and that's why you like me, that's why I'm here, that's why you got to go to DougBillings.us and help me continue to bring you the truth, because here's where you get the truth. You take a look at these numbers. According to Rich Barris, accurate, best statisticians out there, well, you just see that what the polls represent is impossible. So he backs me up, and I'm telling you, there are lies. It's right out of their playbook, right? If they're not outright lying, at best, what they do is they mix lies with the truth. So we just take a good look at all of this. Liberals, although part of this vast coalition of immorality, when they do this and they plot these things, they themselves, these liberals behind all of this, they're not stupid, folks. They're really not. They're smart. The thing is, they think that you're stupid. And they count on vast numbers of people out there believing everything they read and see on social media. All of these things being posted out there, they know that chances are good if they throw enough BS out there, people are going to think it's true. And it causes them to lose hope. Oh, my gosh, Trump's down by 11 points in Michigan. He's down by 2 in Arizona. He's down by 3 in Wisconsin. None of it true. There's another one out there. You look at, the liberal states over there on the left coast, Oregon, California, and then the one over there on the right coast, New Hampshire. President Trump is polling better in the liberal states than he's ever polled before, including 2020. But when we're supposed to believe that he's down by 11 in Michigan, when he was up by 12 just a week ago. Now, I understand she got to bounce, Kamala. She got to bounce. Because again, when you're running the gatekeeper of the Walking Dead, there's no enthusiasm behind Joe. Anybody is going to get your pulse rate excited. So yes, I understand the bump and the sugar high. I completely understand it. And it's a real one. It's a real bump. It's a real sugar high. But it's fake and it's temporary. It's not substantiated in polls that are done with scientific methodology. I don't care if you believe me necessarily or not, but it is a statistical impossibility for Harris to achieve the numbers that the radical left is showing you. So when I say Trump is polling in his best, he is. As the show goes on, you're going to see even more evidence, more proof of all of this. Meanwhile, chameleon Harris, whoever she's pretending to be today, is polling worse than Administrator Biden was in 2020. And she's polling worse than President Trump was in 2020. Historically speaking, another example, Pennsylvania and Michigan almost always vote identically in presidential elections. Almost always. Historical fact. You can talk to my good friend Seth Ketchel about that. And in those states, in Pennsylvania, or in Michigan rather, with an 11-point lead, really? Well, in Pennsylvania, Trump is up by 5% in the very poll that I just showed you. So this lying, inaccurate poll, Michigan, Harris up by 11, Pennsylvania, Trump up by 5. That's never happened. I mean, in modern history, that's never happened. Michigan and Pennsylvania are almost always identical or within 1 or 2, certainly within the margin of error when we talk about polling numbers. So again, I know a lot of this a lot of people don't like math. A lot of people don't like to talk about numbers. I'm trying to give you credible hope, not hopium, not nonsensical hope, not hope from Kookville, but hope that's based in reality. So I don't believe it for a second that Trump's down by 11 in Michigan. I don't believe that polling industry. It's got a terrible reputation, terrible track record. Trust me, the methodology they use is terrible. It's not even remotely possible to get those kind of numbers. Now, in this third image, I'm going to show you a reputable company called IA Polls. It's based out of Iowa, and they have some numbers from July and August. Image number 3, president election. This is a forecast by Nate Silver, and it's done by IA Polls 2022. You can find them on X as well. Now, let me show you here. Okay, Trump holds a sizable lead over Kamala. And this is when good. Now, look, all right, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not because I'm a Trump guy. I'm not just showing you these numbers because they're favorable to Trump. Oh, Billings, you're just a Trump guy. That you're going to find any poll out there that matches up with who you like. Trump's your guy. I'm telling you, just trust me on this. Go do your research on IA Polls, one of the most reputable in the country with a proven track record. So Trump in July, we can look at July 30th and 31st. Just a couple of days ago, Trump 61%, Harris 38%. On the 31st, 57-43. It fluctuates a little bit there. Okay. Yesterday, August 2nd, Trump 53-47. Okay. And now look, think I'm all about Trump. In this particular poll, this one snapshot from the other day has Kamala up in the Electoral College. This one poll. Okay. Now later, I'm going to talk to you about the polls that take the aggregate, the scores of all of the polls that are all of the reputable polls that are out there, and they average the scores out, which is an even better source, really, because it gets rid of the ultra high and the ultra low scores and the weird polls that are out there, and we aggregate the scores all together, and it's the average. So I'll show you some numbers, but again, 61-38% in July, on the 30th, and on the 31st, 57-43. August 2nd, Trump still at 57, Kamala at 47. Trump with a 10-point lead, and this is nationally. Okay, these are the polls that are looking at numbers across the country. I don't always give data that's favorable to Trump. The Electoral College numbers here are evidence of that, but I do give you the truth. I give you the true numbers of truthful analysis that I know is proven, with good methodology and good history to back it up. So yes, this sugar high that they're experiencing. When I come back, I'm going to talk to you more about specific numbers, talk to you more about why the numbers are what they are. Right now, though, we've got to take a break. Thanks again for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, again, DougBillings.us. Please consider, prayerfully so, heading over to my website and offering a recurring monthly donation so that we can continue to bring you this program and the truth that is in it. We need to share it now more than ever. This is not hopium. This is not clickbait. This is real truth. And we talk candidly together. We also take phone calls. I'll tell you more about that when I get back. Enjoy your trip into capitalism. Come on back. I'll be here. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that you could change the trajectory of your aging process? Look and feel better, live younger, be more active, less pain when you move around, sleep better, diminish the lines and the wrinkles on your face? Really? This is what I'm telling you. It's possible. You see, low stem cell activity happens when we get older, and it could be causing many of the health problems that some people have in the world today. Because as we get older, we have less stem cell activity, which means we age faster and we heal slower. The secret is a clinically proven and patented phototherapy non-transdermal patch, whose technology is the result of over 90 clinical studies and over 20 years of research. Your healthier life can begin today, and you can discover true age reversal. Age reversal, ladies and gentlemen. Please go to liveyoungerwithdoug.us. liveyoungerwithdoug.us, ladies and gentlemen. Get over there today, or if you'd like, text my name, Doug, to 41372. Doug, text it, 41372, and get over to liveyoungerwithdoug.us. Get younger, feel younger. I'm doing it. I'm wearing this patch. I feel great, and so will you. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
I want to tell you about the good people over at EMP Shield, electromagnetic pulse, ladies and gentlemen. It can fry your home electrical system or your vehicle's electrical system. But if you attach one of these, now this is for your breaker box at home. There's a smaller version that goes on your battery, of your car, your vehicle, that will prevent it from being fried in the event of an electromagnetic pulse. Because as you know, thanks to Administrator Biden, many people coming across the border now who don't exactly have the best of intentions. Protect yourself. EMPshield.com. Get huge discounts over there if you use the promo code Doug.
Doug Billings, driving the left crazy with the truth.
Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with me, The Right Side with Doug Billings. You and I, shoulder to shoulder, as we endeavor to save the Republic from the grasp of the coalition of immorality, which is the Liberal Party, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with me. So today, polls, Trump surging, absolutely crushing the polls. I'm here to give you hope and reality. What you're seeing and reading, I saw Karl Rove today. Oh, my God, what a piece of work. Karl Rove, my goodness. Polls on Fox News quoting, Trump up by 1, down by 2, this and that. Nationally speaking, ladies and gentlemen, what I just showed you, the Iowa interactive polls, he's up by 10 nationally. Some states are obviously closer than others, but there is this sugar high, as I call it, among the radical left. They're all excited about Kamala. Never mind that just 3 years ago, in fact, 3 months ago, no, but they were calling for her to resign, to step down during the election cycle, that Biden should get somebody better. They don't like her. They never have. What other choice do they have than to feign, that means fake, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri, to feign their enthusiasm for Kamala? They have no other choice. They have to. They have to rally around her. They have to act as if she's our girl. We can't believe we ever didn't like her. Of course, we always wanted her in there. Right. We can sense the nonsense and the BS from a mile away. Anybody with any credible sense of intellectual maturity knows that it's fake. So ever since Administrator Biden was forced out of the race, we have seen this avalanche of enthusiasm from every angle. Again, social media influencers, the legacy media, the elected class, the celebrity class. They're getting everybody on board about this because they've had calls demanding it, demanding that people get out there and post enthusiasm for Kamala. And I'm not making that up. I've told you in previous shows, this enthusiasm is planned, coordinated, and discussed on their conference calls. It's fake. 3 years ago, she was in the tank. She didn't win one delegate vote during the 2020 presidential election. She dropped out early because nobody could stand her. What has changed? Well, what's changed is everybody all of a sudden is admitting the truth that Biden was cognitively impaired. So Kamala, because she's a woman of color, chameleon, whatever she claims to be, black, Indian, I don't care if she claims to be an Irish Catholic from Dublin, Ireland. Doesn't matter what she is, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to turn to the issues. That's where we win this thing. So they realize that Biden is incapable of being president. Kamala is this woman of color, and they've already painted themselves in the DEI corner because Biden made a point to say, I am not going to appoint anyone except a woman to be vice president, which of course is illegal according to EEOC laws. But never mind that trivia, that little tidbit of truth. The fact that this is illegal, you can't hire people because of their gender, because of their race. But President, I almost said it, didn't I? Have never said President Biden on the show. I'm saying it now, but I've never said it. He's Administrator Biden, but he painted himself in that corner. He said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to hire. And he said it about the Supreme Court also. I'm going to put a black woman on the Supreme Court. Well, you can't hire at least in corporate America. I was the VP of HR. I know all about this. You can't hire people based on race, gender, or sexual orientation, any of that. It's got to be qualifications. Well, the law. We don't need to follow the law. If we're a member of the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, we will do whatever we want. So they made a DEI appointment with Kamala, and they can't get out of it now. So, of course, they're going to give her the keys, so to speak, and assume that she's going to get the nomination to be their party's nominee for president of the United States. They have a convention coming up in a couple of weeks in Chicago. And I'm here to tell you that it is not a foregone conclusion that Kamala Harris will be their nominee. I know that they're all acting like it, And I'm not predicting that she's not, but I'm telling you it's not a foregone conclusion. It's going to be a battle. There are groups within that party who are not happy about the fact that she was just given this without a vote of the people within that party. But I digress. So the radical liberal left, faced with Joe Biden, rooting for the zombie, right? It's like trying to muster up enough information for the weekend at Bernie's corpse. So how are we going to get so excited about Biden? We can't do it. So eventually, and by the way, they knew that he was incompetent in 2020. That's why the campaign, don't believe for a second it was because of COVID. He's campaigning from the basement. Remember, very few public appearances, very few. It was a campaign from the basement. They knew it. And Jill Biden knew it. He can't get out there. He can't speak credibly. He can't speak intelligently. He's incapacitated. He's mentally impaired. So they run the campaign from the basement, and they do what they do at the polling stations across the country, things that we all knew and know about, and he ends up being inserted in there, right? So, of course, we're going to see a lot of enthusiasm around Kamala. We're going to see it. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but she's not smart. She's not capable. She's got energy. I mean, she's able to walk up a flight of stairs. I'll give her that, right? You see her last night when the hostages really came back. She was actually unscripted on camera. It's the most cringe moments in all of politics. When she speaks, especially when she's unscripted, cringe, terrible. She will be destroyed in the debates. Absolutely destroyed. But when a candidate like Biden has no life, they have to give up, and they've got to feign all of this support, all of this enthusiasm, and the radical left is going to act like they do, and it's fine. But I'm telling you, when the dust settles, and the sugar high comes to an end, we will see the record that is there. And the record is one that has turned the vice presidency into a no-show job. She's the vice pretender. Don't forget, she's the border czar. And yes, she really was the border czar. Don't let them tell you, no, she wasn't. It doesn't matter I don't want to get into the pettiness of the ethnicity or the race, whatever she is, Indian, black, Jamaican, I don't care. Doesn't matter. We have to turn our attention toward her record and her utter failure to do anything substantive in her role, as I say, as vice pretender. We can go back to when she was in the Senate. We can go back to when she was an attorney in California. We can point to any number of things and show the American people she's not competent. Focus on her record. That's how we win. She's failed to prosecute, just as one example, violent criminals. She does not prosecute them. In fact, she goes out of her way to make sure that violent criminals who are responsible. In 2020, here's the example. You remember Minnesota. Well, there were several states, Washington, Oregon, Minnesota, and others, all of them run, led, and managed by members of the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. Rioting, looting, murder, rape, anarchy everywhere. Kamala Harris sets up, a bailout fund for all of the people who were arrested, gets them out of jail. This is who they're considering to nominate for the presidency of the United States from that party. Sponsoring rioters to get out. Now, they will counter that by saying, well, J6, Trump is promising to pardon the J6. Look, we know from the tapes that we've seen, thanks to Tucker Carlson and others who have broadcast these tapes, it is common knowledge. And I wish Trump would have said this the other day when he's talking to the group of the Black Journalists, the National Black Journalist Association. I wish he would have said it because he was asked about pardoning these J6 guys. So he's not going to pardon all of them. But the riots on that day, I'm telling you, were caused by radical leftists, Antifa, Black Lives Matters, and others who were paid to be there to dress up as if they were MAGA conservatives to start the violence. This needs to be said more and more. It's the truth. Now, did some conservative, good MAGA people go inside the Capitol when they shouldn't? Yes. Fully agree with that. Absolutely. and they will be held accountable. But the riots were not the fault of MAGA patriots. It was the radical left. Nancy Pelosi was, I'm positive, her own daughter was on site on the Capitol. Her daughter is a documentary filmmaker. She's on site making a movie about, get this, insurrection. You can't make it up. Oh, but we didn't know anything about this. We didn't know. It's just a happenstance. It's just a coincidence that she was here with her filming crew making a movie about insurrection. Oh, yeah, sure. We didn't know anything. We didn't know that anybody on our side was going to start this. Of course not. Right. So that's what we need to begin to change the debate about the J6 thing. It's completely different from what Kamala did during the summer of riots that we experienced in this country in 2021. So when we look at these polls, we keep all of this in mind, and people know, and people who are using good methodology are using polls where people like you and me, and even liberals who want to be honest, are being counted in the poll. There's something called a response bias, and it's human nature to become enthused about a candidate or a major event or some such thing. In our case, political candidates. Let's talk about them. The response bias is what we experienced after President Trump's convention, the Republican National Convention. Great convention, by all accounts, the best that's ever been produced ever. So Trump gets a response bias. He gets a little bump. It happens throughout and in every political season. And, you know, it happens after a debate. Trump got a huge kick out of Biden, of course. That was his ending right there, the debate. So the response bias is based on what people see and their feelings. And in the polls, this sugar high is basically a response bias, looking at the difference between the crypt keeper, Biden, the walk of the living dead, and Kamala Harris. The difference, she's articulate, she can speak, she can walk up the steps. She's not smart, but she can walk up the steps. You see what I mean? So the liberals are all excited. They're going to let that cascade down upon us. But the response bias is caused by enthusiasm. It's caused by Biden being forced out of the race. It's caused by a number of things. It energizes a lot of people. But the truth about response bias is that it's always temporary. And it's never reflective of the truth. It's never reflected of how the general public really feels. It's just a sugar high. And that's what we're in, and that's what we're experiencing. It's where the value is, and I've said this at the beginning of the program, I believe it. The real value is looking at the aggregate, the average scoring of all of the reputable polls that are out there. In this case, dealing with polls, you have to look for the ones that are reputable. I've given you a couple. I think the IA polls, the interactive polls, are probably among the best. They're on X. I would encourage you to follow them. But they're objective, they're honest, they have a historical track record, and they use a scientific statistical methodology that is sound, not based in this reaction bias, not based in human emotion, but based on what the truth is. And methodology has everything to do about how the questions themselves are posed to you. So when we look, for example, we're talking about average polls. When we combine that, it gives us a real clear picture. And there's a company out there called Real Clear Politics, and they put out these kinds of polls. I think this is Reagan, image number 4, that's the 2024 general election. Yeah. So here we have Trump versus Harris. It's an image of the latest Real Clear Politics poll. Trump versus Harris, almost all red, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Trump leading in almost every category. Now, Keep this up and just look at it with me, ladies and gentlemen. It's Trump's best numbers ever. This was taken just the other day. What you're seeing there is a reflection of what Trump has done. This is better than he's ever polled in his career as a politician. Basically, he's at 50%. You round it 48%. Technically, you round up 50%. Okay, 50% of the popular vote is going for President Trump when we aggregate all of the credible polls across the country. The best of his career ever. And what it reflects, obviously, is that many people, in multiple dozens upon millions of people in various demographics, including people who in 2020 voted for Administrator Biden, are coming over to the right side. That's what that image just represented to you. And it's good news. Now, we have a lot of work to do. We don't become complacent, right? Like I said, but these people, black people, Asians, Latinos, Hispanics, young, Generation Z, big time, going towards President Trump. I guarantee you that 90% of you are seeing these kind of numbers for the first time. It's not because I'm being partisan. It's not because I'm a Trump guy only. These are the polls that represent the objective and honest truth. Real, verifiable data backed up by a methodology that's scientific. It's proven over historical proof and timelines to be accurate. All right, I've gone a little long, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, by the way, I'm going to open up the phone lines when we come back. 901-316-8404. 901-316-8404. You want to talk about this, how you feel about the polls, about the election, what you're seeing on the legacy media versus what you're seeing here. I'm all ears. 901-316-8404. We're going to open them up when we come back. Thanks for being here with me, and I will return. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Melissa and I have been taking Bella Grace, this powerful elixir, since last fall, 2023. The results have been amazing. My hands would crack and bleed, deep cuts and cracks every winter for years. No matter what we did, we couldn't get them to stop cracking and bleeding. This year, I took Bella Grace, no cracking, no bleeding. My acid reflux, gone. Haven't had to take a Pepsid. My hair growth, the last 2 times I had my hair cut, the lady had to use thinning shears on my hair. That's amazing. We've also received incredible feedback from you, our listening audience, and the impact it's had for you. This is loaded with astaxanthin. That's a powerful antioxidant. Collagen, but top grade collagen. Studies show 95% of it is being absorbed in the body because of the way they develop it. Then we have something called cat's claw. That's an anti-inflammatory from a vine in Peru. It's the bark, and it's an anti-inflammatory. There are about 80 clinical trials on Bella Grace. Please get a subscription now and save. MelissaHousebg.com.
The Right Side with Doug Billings, coming to you from the fruited plains of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are shoulder to shoulder, and thank you for helping me save the Republic. You're doing your part as well. Getting involved in your local levels, I appreciate you. This is how we do it. Determined Patriotism Conference coming up September 27th and 28th. We're going to meet in Branson, Missouri. I'm going to have some of the nation's top podcasters and speakers, truthers and patriots in Branson, Missouri, September 27th and 28th. Head over to the website, determinedpatriotismconference.com. Determinedpatriotismconference.com. Get all of the information. 2 days, Branson, Missouri. Going to go to a show on Friday night, going to have a dinner together Saturday night, and in between, speakers motivating and educating us on how to get involved to save the Republic. And by September, as you know, just 2 months away from the national election, to get motivated, get out, vote, and learn how to reclaim the Republic. So join us in Branson, September 27th to 28th. All right, going to get to the phone lines. We have, talking about polls, talking about this sugar high that the radical left is experiencing and sharing with us. Thank you, radical left. We appreciate you sharing your good mood. We're going to get back to reality, though, step in off the ledge of Kookville and into reality and begin to talk about records and what people have done. And the substantive nature of what Kamala Harris represents is nothing. Zilch. Nada. Doesn't exist. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 901-316-8404. Let's take the phone calls. Looks like we have our friend Vince in Australia. Vince, welcome back to the right side.
Hi. Yeah, Doug. Hi. Doug, I was just telling you yesterday, just sort of about Peter Whelan. He was released, which I was glad to hear because I had made some small donations actually to his cause. But I was later disturbed to hear, about the thugs that had to be released in order to secure it. Again, America negotiating from a position of weakness. But the other point I wanted to relate, you're also talking about the demonic transgender agenda. Interestingly, back on the 1st of July in Brisbane, Chloe Cole from Northern California, she made an appearance and gave a talk on her experience. And I just might share, I took a stack of notes, but I'll just share some points I made. She felt, she was not feminine enough. And at the age of 12, she learned of transgendering, mostly from that hideous social media. But here's a big thing. Her mum and dad were not allowed in the room with so-called professionals. And her parents wanted to wait until Chloe was 18. But the professionals used the typical emotional blackmail, of suicide. Would you rather have such a live son than a dead daughter? And they twisted the care. She said they twisted the care of Chloe's parents to advance their agenda. And one thing, they used this drug called Lupron, which was used to castrate sex offenders. And just a couple more. There was this honeymoon phase, but in the end it didn't last long. There was this hideous loneliness and isolation, and just overall, the whole transgender movement. She just felt completely abandoned. It was a terrible time for her, and it was. I even just spoke with her very briefly after a talk, which was good. But anyway, just thought I'd share with you. Yeah.
We appreciate that, Vince. We see this all the time. The Elon Musk has now taken up this cause. He has a child a son, I believe, who transgendered into a daughter. I think I've got that right. It might be the other way around. But at any rate, Elon has said, "I've lost my child. My child is dead and gone." The radical woke movement is responsible for this. So he's on a bit of a crusade to combat all of this madness. It is absolutely sinful, demonic. You hit all of the right elements of this. It's crazy. And again, ladies and gentlemen, look, I have said, you know me. You've listened to me for 4 years. You get to know me. I'm Catholic. I tell my Catholic friends, I don't see how any Catholic, I don't see how any Christian, and actually Father James Altman was the one who said this first. I don't see how any Catholic, I don't see any Christian. In case you're from Raytown, from Missouri, Catholics are Christian. Thank you very much. We can't. I don't see how. In fact, I think it's impossible for a person of faith to believe in what the modern day communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, puts forth. Their policies, platform, and politics are clearly not in alignment with basic Christian tenets. They're not. I don't see how anybody with any intellectual maturity can back that. Now, I'm not saying that the Republican Party is perfect. They're not. But at least they aspire to the belief in God and his divine providence. At least they aspire to believe in the inspiration that he created within the founding fathers to write our founding documents. At least we strive for that. At least we strive for gender, reality, right? The whole fact that we teach children you can find the wonder, the joy, and the meaning that you're searching for in this life just as who you are. We need to get back to teaching kids how to become happy with who they are. And it doesn't make you happy. The pathway to wonder, joy, and meaning is not achieved by mutilating your genitalia. It is absolutely abhorrent. We see that this week, the Olympics dealing with a huge issue. And we're going to have to get back to testing these. If you've got the XY chromosome, you're a man. I don't care what female body parts you have. Those kind of anomalies can happen. But if you've got the XY chromosome, you're a man. If you've got the XX chromosome, you are a woman. And we test and we get people involved in sport. We've got to get some sense of reality back. So that's a sensitive and an important topic. It's one that I talk about often. And Vince, I appreciate you, as always, bringing these kinds of things to our attention. Absolutely crazy. And that's part of the reason we're talking about these polls. This, again, is why multiple millions of people are coming to the right side, because they look at that issue, among others, but they look at this transgender issue, the pushing of this upon children, the clouding of our society and turning away from God. It's an important issue. And millions of people are saying, you know what, I'm not buying. This is not what I signed up for. I'm going to go and vote for Trump. And I'm talking about not only just, conservatives who've always been that way, but I'm talking about people who voted for Biden in 2020. By the multiple dozens of millions are coming over to our side precisely because of these kinds of issues. All right. Looks like we may have Zoe in Illinois. Zoe, welcome back to the right side, my friend. Good to hear from you.
And you could defend yourself. I have a little bone to pick with you about January 6th. I'm kind of annoyed that it feels like you're trying to kind of play both sides of it. And look, I totally agree. I don't believe in breaking the law. Okay, I just want to say that right up front. However, the Capitol is the people's capital. It doesn't belong to the government. It's ours. And I wouldn't have gone into, if I'd been there, I wouldn't have gone into the Capitol, though, if the police had said you can't come in here or whatever, or if I knew there was a sign that said you can't, whatever. But most of the people that I've heard about that went into the Capitol, they were welcomed in and allowed in, and the police said, come on in. And so to say that they shouldn't have been there is really unfair.
Yeah. So,
and I'm really a little annoyed. I've been annoyed with you for a little while about this because you keep saying things like this.
Yeah. So the truth is, it is our house. You still can't trespass there. You can't do it. That's breaking the law.
No, but
and so we have to be able to now. Clearly, the cops are on film. Some of them, come on in. That's entrapment. We can deal with that. We understand. We agree that those people, that's not their fault. But to go in beyond just the rotunda and go into senators' offices and congressmen and to sit in Nancy Pelosi's desk chair with your feet on her desk and take a picture, steal her laptop, that's not appropriate. It's not appropriate, and those people should be dealt with accordingly.
No doubt about it. But that was a minority, very few people.
I agree. I agree. So there are some people. There are some people that did inappropriate things, and that's what I'm saying. And you and I are on the same page, Zoe, most of the time, and we're allowed to have a difference. And I still love you. Still want you to call the show. I'm not going to say goodbye, Zoe. Get out. But we have to be. Look, we can't just give carte blanche. I know some patriots who are saying, well, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to stand out there. I'm going to go and make a fuss. I'm going to go stand and this is my house. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to crash through. People that were breaking in. Now, I don't believe those were us. I think that the people that were actually the violent ones were the ones that had infiltrated the MAGA ranks and dressed up as if they were us and got in and did some terrible things. I know people. I know Coy Griffin. I know Dr. Simone Gold. Simone walks into the rotunda, gives a speech, and she walks out. She's put in jail for 3 months. Now, that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Coy Griffin, a Cowboys for Trump guy, friend of mine, he never went into the building. He stood on the steps outside, and he said a prayer. He's put in jail for a couple of months. Many times, a lot of that 2 months was in solitary confinement. That is absolute tyranny. The people that went in did stupid things, went into senators' offices, stole things, walked around, took flags and computers. That's what I'm talking about. And the people on the other side that instigated the violence, they need to be dealt with. And we'll be able to, I think, because of the tapes, and a lot of people have seen these things. I think, Zoe, you and I are a lot closer on that than what you think. I'll give you the last word.
We probably are, and I totally agree, of course, about I heard about people who did vandalism, went into Nancy Pelosi's. That's wrong, and that should be prosecuted and whatever. And I heard there was a lady who admits she broke a window. She's a mother of a bunch of children.
Yeah.
And what I would have done, somebody like her, I would have, fine you so you pay for the window and make you maybe do community service in your home area or something.
Yeah.
Because she admitted she did a wrong thing.
Yes.
And I think some of the crowd they got upset because they were they saw horrible things being done, or they were tear gassed and things like that. And you can understand people getting, and I think that they were purposely provoked. So
100%.
So some people
100% agree.
Yeah.
100%.
I figured if we talked about it, but I had to say it because when you talk about it, it comes out sounding like, it just, to me, it sounded, because I got really upset because I kept thinking I could have gone to this, and I thought about going, and I'm blind, and I would not have broken the law, and I would not have knowingly, but I could have been arrested, and it terrifies me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can't believe our country, that we've gone to this level.
Yeah, I know a couple who live just a mile away from me. I'm right here in the middle of the country, and they went to the event. They went to the steps, again, kind of like what Coy Griffin did. They never went anywhere near the entrance to the Capitol.
Right.
And this guy had a SWAT team and FBI show up at 3:00 in the morning. You've heard these kinds of stories,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And they storm the house. They've got their kids there. They scare the heck out of these people. The kids
yes.
are terrified. Now, this is absolutely tyranny. We cannot stand for this. That's completely out of line.
Right.
And that's why I think you're going to see, I think when Trump gets in, God willing, Trump becomes president again, you're going to see General Michael Flynn become what I call the Secretary of Accountability. And he's going to go in there and gut, cleanse, and purge the Department of Justice and hold these people accountable. And he's the perfect man to do that. He knows exactly, he's a victim of all of that himself. He was falsely persecuted, prosecuted, and all of that. If people out there have not seen his movie, Flynn, the movie, you need to see it. It's an eye-opener. And so, yes, Zoe, we are closer than what you thought, and I know that I'm grateful for your call. I'm grateful for the chance that you gave me to talk about this and to set the record straight. Because I don't want there to be any miscommunication or misunderstanding. There are people that did things they shouldn't have done. By and large, it was entrapment, and we have to be able to tell those. But to have a SWAT team show up, to be put in jail for just saying a prayer on the steps, that's nonsense. Yeah. All right.
Right.
Good enough, Zoe?
Yes, and thank you.
You're still going to be on my.
You're
still on my Christmas card list.
Right. There are a couple people that ought to be punished for, like I said, maybe have them do community service or fine or something.
Yep. Yep.
But throwing Mothers of Aid in jail or whatever is ridiculous for no reason.
Amen.
No good reason.
Yep. Amen.
Thanks a lot, Doug.
Yep. You bet, Zoe. God bless you, my friend. We'll see you. All right. Hey, Reagan, let's do one more call. We'll do one more call quickly. I've got Ed in Florida. Ed, we're going to make this quick. We're up against a break. Ed, welcome to the right side.
Well, thank you. The subjects keep changing so fast from the time I got on the phone and started listening. I don't know which one to go after. The EMP shield that you advertise.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
got one on my car. I've got one for when power going into my house, and I got one for the solar panels on my house.
Excellent.
They won't protect much of my electronics, but they'll protect my basic structure. I don't know that my car will work after an EMP or whatever kind of magnetic pulse we may get. It may take out some of the computers because they're not 100% protected by this stuff. But I believe in that. The Capitol thing, my biggest concern is the fact that the act that they used to keep these guys in jail, calling them terrorists, the Patriot Act. Why hasn't our Congress fixed that? That would be my number one thing, because we've got people who've been in prison for well over a year without due process.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do. It's one of the things that makes me the most infuriated.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I'm irritated about. And then I look at these people getting these hideous prison terms because they've already been bankrupt. They can't defend themselves. They take a plea deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the goal. That even applies to what they're putting President Trump through. I mean, yes, they want to take him out, but also, and it doesn't get a lot of airtime, but they want to bankrupt President Trump too. And it doesn't matter that he's a billionaire. Look, a $10 billion, whatever he's worth, let's just say he's worth $1 billion. $1 billion is not an infinite amount of money, especially not when you're having to defend yourself against these kinds of cases. I mean, it's expensive. So yes, they want to take him out legally. They also want to take him out financially. And that's what they do to John and Jane Doe across the country. It's absolutely sinful on many levels. And to your point, again, as I was telling Zoe, President Trump, God willing, if he's in there, I think he's going to assign General Flynn to be, I call it the Secretary of Accountability. That's just my term for it. I've mentioned that to General Flynn. He said, that's kind of, I like the sound of that. So we'll see what they call it. But he's going to go in, and these are going to be the kinds of things that they address: to gut, cleanse, and purge the Department of Justice, which of course includes the FBI, the CIA. And don't be surprised, Ed, on another note, you talk about things that they're going to eliminate. I'll bet you that Trump and Flynn and others will go in there and absolutely get rid of the Department of Education, the Department of Energy, and the Department of Interior, just to name a few. And then the biggie, they're going to help withdraw the United States from the United Nations. Just watch. I'll bet. I don't have any proof. That's my hunch, and I think that's where they're going. Ed, I'm going to give you the last word. We got to make it quick and say so long. Anything else?
Okay. Yeah, get out of the UN real fast, because they're funding the invasion on the southern border using our money.
Yep. Okay. I think you're right, and then we'll deal with NATO and have them pay their fair share and so forth. Look, Ed, I always appreciate hearing from you. Give our best to everybody down there in Florida. God bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, we are in this together. We will prevail. The polling, I'm going to end where I began today. You see this cascade of nonsense, the polls. I'm here to give you real hope. They're putting forth data and nonsense that's not true. I will continue to talk about this. I'll continue to bring you information. Follow me, please, on all of the platforms we are over on X. Follow me over there. YouTube, go watch all of our videos on YouTube. Follow me, subscribe, so you always get the number. Rumble, same thing. Worldviewtube.com. Thanks to the good people over there. Today, Reagan, the producer, also Logan is over there as well, but worldviewtube.com, Spreely TV. Get out there and support these networks. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, so that you and I can continue to walk shoulder to shoulder together, and that I can continue to, where I need you to go is DougBillings.us. Prayerfully, please consider setting up a monthly recurring donation of whatever, 5, 10, 50, if you're blessed to be able to do 100, whatever. Every month, just set it up. It's real easy. DougBillings.us. Click on donate and just set that recurring. It's what I do. It's what I do for a living, and I'm dependent upon you good people. I never charge you for this program. You can have it for free always. But what is it worth to you? I need your help over there. DougBillings.us. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, I'll see you again next week. Have a great weekend. Be with each other. Take care of one another. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
We live in uncertain